Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Derek got a fun and exciting video for you guys today because the Legend of Zelda the Minish PC Port is available for you to start playing today. If you don't remember, about a week ago, early last week, I did a video on a work-in-progress version of this port that was sent to me by the developer Mateo, and I said it was definitely promising, but it wasn't yet ready to test by the public, and I didn't have any audio in the build. And even though if you watch this video, this first part of the footage is retreading familiar territory, it is a brand new capture, and I will say this new version that's been updated since I did that video not only is way more stable, but now the audio works on my system as well, so we're going to be able to hear the game and do a soundtrack sample. But this is definitely night and day different on the overall stability department when you play this, and that definitely is exceptional. Before you get too far involved, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, you got a Patreon link down below as well. But Mateo the dev on this one has been doing an outstanding job, and now you can sit down and start playing the Minish cap today. My only recommendation is, because it is not done, that you save often when you're playing, as every once in a while you could still hit some sort of freeze or crash. Now, in my time with it so far, I haven't had any issues whatsoever, outside of the fact that obviously a few of the screen space effects are not working perfectly. So if you're planning on doing a 100% run of something like the Minish cap, I might wait for this thing to update more, but if you want to jump in, start playing, and check out a PC port of one of the best handheld Zelda games of all time, you can do that as well. And a note from Mateo, he actually sent me this about an hour before I did the voiceover. There is somebody who forked his repo on GitHub with a different username that's changing up the code and has nothing to do with his project. So you see in the description below the link to the actual GitHub repo. That is the official one, and apparently the other developer was doing something that was getting Mateo heat, and that definitely sucks when you end up getting yelled at for something you have nothing to do. That is the reality of GitHub. All of the repos are public, so people can fork them, but sometimes someone will fork them and do something you don't love. That's the unfortunate part of open source code. You have to take the good with the bad, but just be aware that the link below is Mateo's and Mateo's only, and any other link is not from the dev. So going over to the GitHub link here, you will see that you can download everything from the Releases tab, which is going to be in the top right hand corner of the screen, just below the overall repo information. And it really isn't hard. It gives you the information on what versions of the Minish cap you want to use, and there is an asset extractor in the folder as well. But I will also show you the build tool that is available, so it'll do it automatically for you. And this came out yesterday, the version 0.1.1, but definitely check this page because it could be updated by the time you watch this video, because Mateo is always iterating on this, so I want to make sure you guys get the most recent version of it. And just a little bit of advice, I know my commenters would never do this, but I do feel bad when developers basically get yelled at for what somebody else does. And honestly, when people are working on free projects, I don't know why suddenly the quote-unquote retro gaming community feels like they can just start attacking people and yelling at them. Don't forget, people do this in their spare time out of passion, and obviously it's one of those things. They don't have to do it, so you should definitely try to be a little bit kinder and a little less mean. But again, I know my consistent commenters would not be the people that do that stuff out there. And as far as the performance here on the new version, again, everything is working so much better. I do not know yet if you can finish this game. I've talked to a few people that are like 4 to 5 hours in, playing with different save files, and they've basically been able to get through it. But again, I wouldn't just sit down and expect this thing to be perfection, because the development is not finished. But it is a great example of getting another Legend of Zelda game as a PC port. And honestly, we just recently talked about the fact that the Wind Waker is past the 50% mark on its decompilation as well. So I feel like within the next 12 to 18 months, you're going to get multiple different ports of Legend of Zelda games to PC, and that absolutely is outstanding. And I know I have to get the Minish cap to be able to shrink down here. I'm just playing around, trying to activate different things within the game world to see how it actually reacts. And in my capture, again, outside of the map screen having a few weird graphical glitches, everything else seemed to be pretty damn buttoned up for such an early release. That absolutely is amazing. But we're going to go into the first soundtrack sample, because again, when I first talked about this as a private test build, I could not get audio to work whatsoever, and now there is full audio, so that definitely is a massive improvement. So go ahead and listen to the audio quality for like 45 seconds or so, but come back. I got more Minish cap and more tutorial to give you guys. But enjoy, because the music is good. I mean, that sounds like the Minish cap to me, but you tell me down below. Now, you will see there is also a tool called AutoTMC, or Automatic the Minish Cap Installer and Launcher. So if you want more of an easy update process, one that'll deal with everything for you, and I'm sure a lot of people might want that, this is definitely something you can check out. You'll see here it has a full feature set as well. I'm going to go over very basically how to make sure this thing works on your system so you can kind of play around with the Minish cap yourself. And again, just make sure you grab the most recent version of everything, because when you guys are playing around with, testing, or otherwise trying to play work in progress ports, I want to make sure that you actually have the most updated information, because sometimes if you're on the old version, you're not going to get as many actual improvements as you would think. So if you go to the releases tab, you're going to see a bunch of different tests here. You can go ahead and grab the most recent one. That should work perfectly fine, but remember, when things are actually in development, sometimes there can be regressions, and sometimes the newer version will actually work worse, at least in some aspects. That is to be expected. And when you actually have everything installed here, you just go ahead and set up the actual game file. You'll use your legally owned Minish cap version of the game, rename it to baserom.gba, and go ahead and select that. All you need to do from there is hit extract assets, and when that is done, click launch, and it'll bring you into the Minish cap PC port. Perfectly fine. You'll just be able to sit down and enjoy some gameplay. And I will say that's definitely better than my first experience, and it isn't a knock against it. It was so early that Mateo and I basically troubleshot my version that he sent over to me for maybe like 45 minutes to an hour to get everything working correctly. And I actually had to get a couple of files from his PC that he sent over into the folders on my system to make everything work. And that is definitely not going to be the case here, because you just pop all of the different files into the appropriate folders. You go ahead and install the ROM and extract it. You hit launch, and you're playing the Minish cap. And again, all the screen transitions here, all of the graphics, if I took a screenshot of this and just said it was the 1.0 release and it was perfect, you really wouldn't have any semblance of an idea that this thing was still in active development. And because the Minish cap is such an incredible game and one of my favorite 2D Zelda games of all time, it is extra fun for me, because it always kind of felt like the traditional sequel to something like A Link to the Past. And don't get me wrong, there really isn't any bad handheld Legend of Zelda game, but for me the Minish cap definitely takes that top spot. Leave me a comment down below and you tell me what your favorite portable Zelda game is. I always like hearing the answers. And as we go into this map here, all of the parallax scrolling, all of the graphics, everything seems to look exactly as expected. If you notice anything off in this section, leave me a comment down below, because I always love to say I have two eyes and I definitely get vision blindness to looking for glitches, because I'm also the editor of these videos where you guys have thousands upon thousands of eyes. And basically every single time I say that, somebody notices something, points it out, and I can't believe I missed it myself. But as we get into this area, all of the game logic is working as well. All of the text boxes, all of the animations, you really would have no idea that this thing was still being worked on. And as far as how long it's going to take it to get finished, I don't know. Could be 6 weeks, could be 6 months. We're just going to have to wait and see. Let's move into the second soundtrack sample, because again, the current version of the build has 100% more audio than the last version I tested did, which is to say it has audio and the last version didn't. So go ahead and listen. I'll be right back with a little bit more. If you're wondering, yes, I know you need to move that crate to the right, not straight, but there's a little bit of crunchiness in that one sound effect, so I went in there and pushed it a couple different times. I can actually get a little bit more of it recorded versus it being there for like half a second. But it's one of those things. For the most part, the audio is buttoned up, the gameplay is buttoned up, and the visuals are like 90% of the way there. And I'm sure once this thing is done, it's going to be absolutely spectacular. And if you do want to test this one and you have any sort of OLED monitor or OLED TV, I can't recommend it enough, because the inky blacks here on the text box versus all of the bright cherry colors look absolutely stunning when you have an OLED TV in the mix. But the developer on this one, Mateo, is doing an absolutely amazing job, and next time there is a big fundamental update, I'll definitely make a follow-up video. And again, the two links for the repos are in the description below, pun very much intended, for link being on screen. And remember, if you see any of the repos for the PC port not by Mateo, those don't belong to him, so don't yell at him for whatever the developers there is doing. But short of that, this is amazing. You should definitely check it out, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.